Alright, what's up everyone? We're standing outside of 220 Central Park South. This is the gorgeous limestone building by Vernado and Robert A.M. Stern. You could also see Central Park Tower just off to the south. But there's actually two buildings in connection with this mega project. You see the 950-foot tall skyscraper, but then you also have the villa apartments, which are directly in front of us. But today we're going to be walking from New York City's Billionaires Row all the way down 8th Avenue to 34th Street. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I always like looking at the main valet there at 220 Central Park South. It's such a striking entrance. And I think if you compare some of the the neighboring buildings, yeah, Central Park Tower is quite nice, but it doesn't really have that wow factor for the residents when you just pull up. I feel as if 220 Central Park South feels a little bit more homey. Here's one of the main, really the main driveway, the entrance to the garages. So meticulously done, limestone throughout, everything is backlit, and obviously the security is top-notch. You have a similar feature at 15 Central Park West, which is just to the north of Columbus Circle. It's the building directly next to 1 Central Park West, which is the Trump International Hotel and Tower. Both of those buildings, 15 Central Park West and 220 Central Park South, really have that wow factor for the residences as they enter the building. In any event, this is now 58th Street and Broadway. We're going to be making a right and then crossing over towards 8th Avenue, and then we'll head southbound. This is one of my favorite areas in the city, particularly in the summer. You have Central Park right here. You have a lot of great restaurants. Also, the vibe of this neighborhood is great because you have a lot of high-end hotels. You have the Trump International Hotel and Tower just off to the north. You have the Park Hyatt, which is in 157. And then last but not least, in the northernmost tower of the Deutsche Bank Center, which is right here, you have the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. Now, the Mandarin Oriental also just recently developed the residences on 5th Avenue. So if you do enjoy all of the amenities at the Mandarin Oriental and you like the style, you do have an option to purchase in the residences on 5th Avenue. One of the things I noticed automatically from being here in Columbus Circle is they did take down all of the Christmas lights that are in the shops at Columbus Circle. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Deutsche Bank Center was originally called the AOL Time Warner Center, and this was built on the site of the old convention center. And once they built the Javits Center on Manhattan's west side, which is very close to the Hudson Yards, they didn't really have a use for that convention center right here at Columbus Circle, so it really fell into disrepair. It was abandoned for quite a long time, and then there was a bus stop that people used to go visit their relatives in prison in upstate New York, so it was kind of a very seedy and ratty area. It wasn't until Related stuck their neck out and bought the land, demolished the convention center, and built the AOL Time Warner Center, which is now the Deutsche Bank Centers. Now, I've told this story many times, but the most interesting thing about it is when they put out the renderings for the building, there was a lot of criticism in New York City. A lot of people were saying that nobody would want to live, nobody would want to work in a building that so closely resembled the World Trade Center with those two towers. They were wrong. and it was one of the most successful projects in the area. And it is home to some of the most luxurious hotels. This is Central Park Tower. This is the tallest building on New York City's Billionaires Row. This was developed by Extel, and it stands 1,550 feet tall. This is now 58th Street and 8th. This is the main subway station that I would always get off 59th Street, Columbus Circle. There's a lot of educational institutions around here, one of which being Fordham University, and the second one being the CUNY John Jay College of Criminal Justice. The CUNY system is the public education system in New York City. The acronym CUNY stands for City University in New York. This is now 57th Street and 8th.
And then I think we go down.
The street of 57th Street is considered Billionaires Row. And I always like standing here because if you look all the way over to the east side, you'll see Harry Macalow's 432 Park Avenue. It's very iconic in the New York City skyline. Now, the architect on that deal is a Uruguayan architect by the name of Rafael Vignoli. One of the most kind of eye-capturing things about that development are the 10-foot by 10-foot windows that adorn every single unit in the building. This is 300 West 57th Street, or the Hearst Tower. You also have a main entrance to the subway here at Columbus Circle. You can get the A, C, B, D, and 1 trains right from here, but look at the uniqueness of the exoskeleton on this building. The shot almost looks a little bit ominous, doesn't it? Kind of looks like something out of a Batman movie. But the Hearst Tower is one of my favorites in New York City, architecturally speaking. Again, we're now headed southbound on 8th Avenue. This is 56th Street, and we are on Manhattan's west side now. If you look across the street, you'll see this restaurant called Wingstop. Now, Wingstop is this really, really successful franchise that sells chicken wings, and they are publicly traded under the ticker symbol WING. There's also another fast casual brand just off to our left called Dave's Hot Chicken. This, I believe, was acquired by a private equity firm. I think the total deal size was about $2 billion. I could be mistaken, but this was a huge deal in 2025 for Dave's Hot Chicken. But again, across the street, if I zoom in here, you see the Wingstop. This has been increasingly successful. These locations have been popping up all over the city. One of the things you'll notice all up and down 8th Avenue are these old pre-war style buildings with the fire escapes. So you have the main retail tenant on the ground floor, and then you have all the apartments up above. And these are walk-ups, so imagine living all the way at the top floor, 5th floor, 6th floor walk-up. It's a pretty long hike. Now I've noticed a commonality between the success and the lack thereof of a lot of the fast casual businesses. So if we kind of do a post-analysis here, you know, Dave's Hot Chicken, major success. Wingstop, major success. And you could even add Raising Cane's to that list as a major success. And the one commonality that I see amongst all of those organizations is a very, very simplistic menu. Right? I mean, within reason, Wingstop really only sells chicken wings. Dave's Hot Chicken has a very simplistic menu, just selling chicken. And you guessed it, Raising Cane's only sells chicken tenders. So it's a very, very simple menu. It doesn't have a diverse menu, which really allows the organization to control that supply chain and drive costs down while gross margins expand. In any event, right on the corner here of 55th Street and 8th, I wanted to take you guys by this spot. This is the original soup kitchen, which is at 259 West 55th Street. If you've ever watched the sitcom Seinfeld, this is the location of the original Soup Nazi. This is one of my favorite episodes from Seinfeld. And this is the original location right here. It's so easy to miss. A lot of people just walk right past it on 8th Avenue. As we're walking down 8th, we're also going to get a really good opportunity to check on the construction progress, or the lack thereof, of the brand new Torch building. Now, the Torch we've been talking about for quite some time. I do want to start doing more frequent walking tours down 8th Avenue around that construction site, because it's one of the most, I would say, bizarre developments. It's going to have a drop ride attraction on the top. So there's actually going to be an amusement park ride on the top of the building. In addition to that, the construction, or the developer on the project, is one of my favorite developers in the city. The developer is Xtel, so Gary Burnett's Xtel will be on the Torch. There's also going to be a hotel component there as well. And it's right on New York City's Restaurant Row, which is quite convenient, particularly being that it's right near Times Square, right near Restaurant Row. I think it'll do well with tourists. This is now 54th Street. I've also noticed a lot of new delis opening up. 8th Avenue looks a lot different from 2013, 2014, when I was really frequenting this area more often. Oh my gosh, look at this. We have to pull off to the side. There's yet another location of Luckin Coffee. I mean, this is really impressive just how fast this brand has managed to expand in New York City. Luckin Coffee is a Chinese coffee company, and I had no idea that they had a location now on 8th Avenue. That's definitely a brand to watch as well. I mean, my God, there's so many locations. I mean, we were just filming a video down in Lower Manhattan on Fulton Street as we were exploring the Oculus at the World Trade Center. And there was another Luckin Coffee just opening. This is now 52nd Street. Everybody's probably in line waiting to see MJ the musical. So I'll show you guys this line real quick. I mean, look at all the folks lined up. At least it's not as cold as it was the last couple of days, right? And they are waiting to go into the Neil Simon Theater. The Neil Simon Theater is currently where MJ the Musical is playing. And I saw this last year. I was actually able to see it in 2025. It was a fantastic show. Unbelievable show. The cast was great. Super talented cast. I really had a good time there. So I would recommend it. I mean, if you're thinking about traveling to New York City, maybe you want to put MJ the Musical on your radar. Yeah, look at that. The line quite literally stretches all the way down the block. I really like the look of the Neil Simon Theater as well. Definitely never a dull moment. If we cross over here, we'll get to see the crowd a little bit better. Really packed for a Wednesday night show, too. I think it's so windy because it's warming up. Oh wow, look at how long the line goes. Well, that's good news. It means they're making money. And they deserve it because it is a good show. But for a Wednesday night? And there's the end of the line. Oh gosh. Yeah, it goes, I mean, this is literally around the block and around the other corner. To 51st Street. If we were to make a left on 51st Street, you could walk right over to Radio City Music Hall. This is really the northernmost side of Times Square if you were to go over to 7th Avenue. We're also about to pass the Worldwide Plaza, which is a really nice looking building. It's right in between 49th Street and 50th Street on 8th. I'll show it to you right now. See a lot of office workers leaving happy hours and such. Definitely always gets busy here. And they just recently put this Whole Foods in. This is new. This is also the main entrance to the C&E trains, which is convenient to get back to Penn Station. And here's the Worldwide Plaza building. I believe Nomura is in here. This is a Japanese bank. And we'll go ahead and cross the street over to the west side because I want to check in on the progress of the infamous Torch building. If you're looking for an affordable place to stay near Times Square, I would recommend this Kipton Theta Hotel. This was recently completely renovated during the pandemic. And the rooms are big, it's very clean, and it's new. A lot of the, I would say, famous hotels directly in Times Square, they're very dated. So even though the rooms are clean, it's just like everything is very, very old and worn. So I would say make sure you stick with the newer hotels in New York City, or the recently renovated ones, I should say. But again, it's right between 48th and 49th Street on 8th Avenue. It's the Kipton Beta Hotel. It's right by Engine 54, Ladder 4, Battalion 9. The FDNY. And I think we're about to pass this Mishwe location.
Hello.
I think it is right here. Let me see, everyone. I think we passed it. It's on 49th. Well, let's cross and we'll see if there's a long line. If there's not a long line, I really want to show it to everybody. Looks like a big tour group of sorts. We'll take a quick detour. I just want to see if the line is long. Mishwe is this new Chinese brand. I always like to do impromptu market research to see if the lines are still long. I think the line might be out the door. We'll see. Man, 8th Avenue is really rocking. I was expecting a little bit of a quieter walk tonight. It's good to see. Ah, that's why we missed it. You know, the scaffolding really does a disservice to a lot of the businesses. It's so hard to see when everything's covered in scaffolding, you know what I mean? It does look pretty packed. Let's see. This is the first location in New York City. look at how pretty much everything is sold out. That's a good sign. Maybe 50%. Okay, skip. Okay, I think it's supposed to send us a text. $251. Look at how cheap everything is here compared to the other brands. $1.19, $1.99. And most of their stuff is sold out.
Oh, son, 253.
251.
252.
I think it says I'm ready, so it should be up any minute. $251?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Wow. That's extremely good. So when we went in there, the vast majority of their most popular menu items were completely sold out, which is a good sign. And the lemonade is really good, which I think is going to do even better in the summer. But I was talking with a friend today. I was kind of hashing out the logistics of the operation. And I really can't pencil it to profitability. I just don't understand, because if you're selling $1.19 ice cream, and the minimum wage in New York City now is $17 an hour, I believe. I think as of January 1st, 2026, the minimum wage in New York City is $17, and there's a lot of employees in there. So if the highest priced menu item is $4, but the vast majority of people are maybe spending $3, $2, maybe people are ordering multiple things, then you got to pay the rent. I just don't know how it's profitable. The margins must be extremely, extremely slim. It is really good though. And there's actual lemons in here, so it's not like nonsense, I guess. It's very good. That first kiosk was all in Chinese. I gave it my best college try, but then I had to abort that mission. In any event, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. Right here on the corner of 46th Street. This is Xtel's new torch.
200?
So this building right here is going to have a drop ride attraction at the top. I can't even imagine how that's going to look. I'm trying to visualize it because the renderings are already up online. I still just can't picture how that's going to look in the skyline, but we'll continue to monitor the situation. This is New York City's Restaurant Row, 46th Street. There's a few good restaurants here, like Becco, not bad. So it is a good location. There's the main Restaurant Row sign. And here's the main construction site. There's also a hotel up here called the Row New York. And I believe the new mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, signed an executive order today mandating that all of those migrant facilities or the hotels be fully renovated, I think. Something along those lines. I gotta read it, but I saw it on the Twitter feed today. Now headed down towards the Port Authority bus terminal. You'll also be able to see the New York Times building as well. But guys, for a Wednesday night, it does seem like things are pretty busy. It's just very windy. To our left is the Row New York. This was pretty much ground zero for the migrant crisis in New York. This and the Roosevelt Hotel. And we are now on 44th Street. This is by that tremendous Shake Shack.
Third.
Shake Shack is packed.
Shake Shack. pizza?
Okay, we've officially made it. This is 42nd Street and the Port Authority bus terminal. Seems more like a Friday night in terms of foot traffic than a Wednesday. And this is looking directly into Times Square. Oh, this is one of these Uber shuttles. I really want to try that. So you can go from Newark Airport, well, you can go from Midtown Manhattan to Newark. I think they have one to JFK as well. It's significantly cheaper, and it runs on a schedule. I was just talking about this yesterday.
That they need to have better.
On Friday, I'm flying out to Miami, Florida. Maybe I'll try the Uber shuttle, actually. Let's cross this way. I'm really loving the new billboards. Very high tech, very clear. What everybody's in line for. Right in between 40th and 41st Street is the New York Times building. I'll kind of pull off to the side so you can see it. It's an interesting structure. Here's the Beer Authority.
Sextortion, very real and often deadly scam aimed at teenagers through social media. They're tricked into sharing compromising photos of themselves and someone they believe to be
There used to be a really good dim sum place. I'm curious to see if it closed down or not. I think it looks open. Yeah, this Kung Fu Kitchen. This place has really good dim sum.
Oh, it's still good.
However, I haven't been in a really long time. This is now 39th Street. You're going to see a really interesting Art Deco building coming up. This is going to be the New Yorker Hotel. And part of the New Yorker Hotel has been converted into dormitories for college students. Still got a couple blocks now to go, but there's also so many of these cannabis shops pretty much everywhere you look. The guy was asking for weed, claiming that his product is quote-unquote top shelf, in which I can guarantee it is definitely not top shelf, nor for am I a weed smoker, but I can guarantee that it's not. Okay, 3 more blocks here. And then we'll check out the lobby of the New Yorker Hotel. I really like the lobby. They redid it. Very clean in there. Very open foyer. This is now 37th Street. Wonder what color the Empire State Building is lit up tonight. We'll see here in a moment. It's a nice Model Y. Okay, now we're on 36th Street, one more to go. The New Yorker Hotel is in between 34th and 35th Street on New York City's 8th Avenue, which is convenient if you're going to like a game or something and you need to stay overnight. Okay, here we are. Let's cross over towards the west side of the street. We'll also be able to see Madison Square Garden here in a moment. I think there might be a game going on tonight. I believe there is, because I see people inside MSG right now going up the spiral staircase. Let's see if I can get you guys in the lobby. Oh wow, I didn't know Lotte owns this now. This is the New Yorker by Lotte Hotels. I think now this is Korean owned, that means. But look at the moldings on the ceiling. And of course you have the entrance to the TikTok diner too. Wow. It is beautiful in here. Okay, and now we're back on 8th Avenue. In which case, we have reached our final destination. So if you guys enjoyed tonight's video, feel free to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. And as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Alright, what's up everyone, and welcome to Midtown Manhattan. But on today's walking tour, I wanted to do a complete and total walk of New York City's 8th Avenue. Now, we would usually start the walking tour off on 34th Street and 8th and continue all the way up. But I think we're going to start on 42nd Street today to give you a little bit of a better picture of what it's actually like on a Friday afternoon to walk on New York City's 8th Avenue, starting from the heart of it all, 42nd Street. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. In the distance here, you can see Central Park Tower on New York City's Billionaires Row. And it is quite loud today. This is the main subway entrance to Times Square, 42nd Street. You can get the NQRW shuttle to Grand Central 1, 2, 3, and 7 trains. If you walk over to 8th Avenue, you can get the Blue Line, which is the AC and E trains. Here you have those turnstiles. But the MTA recently added these metal barriers. Apparently it's supposed to stop the fare evasion. I don't really see how it's going to do that, but the MTA claims, and it spent, I think, $50 million to put these little metal barricades on. So I guess if somebody tries to jump it, it'll be a little bit uncomfortable on their hands as they get stabbed with the spikes. In any event, you also have the main customer service center here for the MTA. Oftentimes people ask me to go into the New York City subway just to kind of showcase what it's like. I should note that we are very close to One Times Square, which is now going to be transformed into a museum. So at the top of this building, this is where they usually drop the ball on New Year's Eve. I think last year was the last year they're going to drop the original ball. They're going to be doing something different this year, and atop of One Times Square is going to be a museum. Streets are pretty busy. One of the things you'll notice about New York City on a Friday evening, I would say a little bit earlier, is rush hour actually happens earlier in the day on Fridays. You might be asking yourself why that is. And mainly on Friday, a lot of New Yorkers get off of work early and head out east to the Hamptons, Watermill, and the like. Also, lots of summer homes are on upstate New York. Places like Larchmont, Mamaroneck, even up in Greenwich. So we're now walking westbound on 42nd Street, and we'll go all the way to 8th Avenue, and we'll head southbound first towards 34th Street, in which case we will walk right past the very famous New Yorker Hotel. This is the main theater where you have Aladdin the musical. I gotta give you a quick tip. If you're thinking about visiting New York, I just recently saw MJ the musical. The theater's on 53rd Street, I believe. And I gotta tell you, it was awesome. I didn't think I was gonna like it. Usually, I'm not a big Broadway type of guy. I very, very seldom go to Broadway shows. But if you ever get the opportunity to purchase tickets to MJ the musical, I would totally do it. It was such a fun experience. I believe I saw the 7 o'clock showing, and we got out around 9:30. It was a very, very cool experience. The show was all about the life of Michael Jackson, and with the real hyper focus on his last tour, I believe, like kind of getting in Michael Jackson's brain. You really can see how much of a perfectionist he was, which I never really knew that before. I mean, Michael Jackson was a little bit before my time. In any event, check it out. MJ the musical, right here in New York City. This is now Madame Tussauds. This is the very famous wax museum. So one of the main reasons why I want to do a specific walk of 8th Avenue is because it's really been a hot spot in Midtown Manhattan, unfortunately, with a lot of crime, a lot of drugs. However, on the bright side, and I do have to give the current administration, the Adams administration, a lot of credit here. They've been doing a lot of good work in cleaning up New York City's 8th Avenue. I think a few days ago there was an unfortunate random stabbing of just a tourist that was trying to get out of the subway. But things are improving. We've done a few walks of 8th Avenue in the past, and each time that we've done the walk, it seems a little bit more orderly, a little bit more clean, and an increase in police presence. So we'll see if today adds to that trend. This is now the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street. We are right across the street from the Port Authority bus terminal. Here you have the main subway entrance. As we talked about, since we're over on 8th Avenue, you could get the AC&E trains here. This is looking northbound. So if you were to take 8th Avenue all the way up, it will run you right into 59th Street, New York City's Columbus Circle. But first, as kind of we explained, we're going to bang this left, looking over at the Port Authority, and we are going to head downtown for now, mainly because I want to go right outside of the New Yorker Hotel. I want to check out the backside of Madison Square Garden and the main entrance to the Moynihan Train Hall before we start to head back up. We're now approaching 41st Street and 8th, and we'll walk right past the main entrance of the New York Times building. The New York Times building sits between West 40th and West 41st Street, and virtually across the street from the Port Authority bus terminal. The exact address is 620 8th Avenue. And you also have the enterprise software giant Datadog that has their offices in this building. They're a publicly traded company under the ticker symbol DDOG. My one hope regarding the Port Authority, I really hope they do a similar project like they did at the Penn 2 project. If you're not familiar with the Penn 2 project, please go watch our walking tours of the Penn District. That is the revitalization project of the Penn District put on by Vornado. Because the Port Authority, as you can see here, I mean, it looks horrible, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think a city like New York deserves a state-of-the-art transit hub that doesn't look like a prison, right? Not to be hypercritical of it, but if we could have something similar to the Penn 2 project right here on 42nd Street, that would be amazing. And I think we're going to get it. Okay, let's continue on our way down. You're gonna see a lot of like small pizza shops, smoke shops all up and down 8th. Also a lot of the cannabis dealers and distributors. I've actually had this dim sum place before. It's quite good. Kung Fu Kitchen. Usually my go-to spots are in Chinatown on Mott Street specifically. If you're wondering what my top recommended Chinese restaurant is in Manhattan, the address is 69 Mott Street, and it's called 456 New Shanghai. That is the best, in my opinion, Chinese restaurant in New York. Once again, that's 69 Mott Street. You know, I'd say so far, since it's a Friday and there's a lot of people out, 8th Avenue looks a lot less kind of sketchy. But, you know, a lot of these stores have been popping up all over the place. It's almost like you have a new one every single day around the city, these cannabis stores. And a lot of the commercial spaces that we have up for rent, you will get a lot of interest from these smoke shops and cannabis stores. And what they'll do is they'll actually offer you over asking on your rent. And since right now, well, in the past, I wouldn't really say right now, there was very, very high vacancy for, you know, retail storefront commercial space in New York. A lot of landlords were getting desperate and just taking it, right? Even though they kind of provide a slight bit of degradation to the community. It's just my own personal opinion. And some of them, not all of them, but some, right, can get caught doing nefarious activities and things like that. But oftentimes those smoke shops will offer over asking on the rent. And landlords that need the rent, they'll just take it. You're even starting to see those cannabis smoke shops on Central Park South now. But I guess it's all subjective, right? I may not like it, but maybe somebody else does. Maybe people think it's great to have in the community. Okay, we're now approaching West 37th Street. And we'll be able to see the New Yorker Hotel in just a minute, which is a really beautiful, beautiful building.
I mean, the other straight voltage I can think of.
If you like Art Deco style, you'll probably also like the JW Marriott Essex House that sits right at Central Park South. That's another really gorgeous building. By the way, they just renovated that. So if you walk in the Essex House on your travels to New York, you'll be greeted with this amazing, expansive new lobby and a brand new steakhouse called Bourbon Steak that is now attached to the lobby of the hotel. They did a really, really good job on the renovations. You know, this is another coffee chain that's all over New York. This Gregory Coffee, but I'm not a big fan. I've been to it a couple times. A lot of people really like it. Not a huge fan of Gregory's. I've mentioned this before on a prior walking tour, that Luckin Coffee just opened up in New York City on 28th Street and 6th Avenue. And the thing about Luckin Coffee is that it's technically, right, I'm using air quotes here, so much cheaper than all of its competitors, right? But if you look at their list price on their website or on their application, the lattes and the drinks will be $7, $7.50, just like at Starbucks. But every time you purchase something at Luckin Coffee, they give you a 50% off coupon that expires in 5 days, right? So essentially, if you go once a week, you get everything 50% off. And a lot of Chinese companies kind of do that. It's kind of like gamifying it. So it's much, much more affordable than a big brand, but I think it has similar quality. And as always, Luckin Coffee used to be publicly traded in the United States on the NASDAQ, but it was delisted due to accounting fraud, but it is a real company. All right, everybody. Here we have it, the New Yorker Hotel, right here on the corner between West 34th Street and West 35th Street. It's really, really a beautiful building. This is looking southbound on 8th Avenue towards Madison Square Garden. Perhaps we'll continue to walk down to 34th, just so you could see a little bit better picture of the building from afar.
Opens the door by himself to my bedroom. I close him out.
You also have the TikTok Diner. This is going to be the view of the day. Check that out. Stunning, stunning view of the Empire State Building. This is one of my favorite places to stand during sunset, seeing the Empire State Building. And then, of course, here we have that New Yorker Hotel. You know what? Since we're here, you guys want to take a look in the lobby? We might as well, right? Lots of construction going on, too. So in the distance, you have Madison Square Garden, a little bit of the Penn 2 project. You have One Penn Plaza and the Empire. Here we have the entrance to the TikTok Diner.
Okay.
Not too sure how long this scaffolding is going to be over the entire thing, but I actually think the lobby is quite nice. So let's go ahead and check it out, everyone. Welcome to the very famous lobby of the New Yorker. Really nice branding here. And you have really nice Art Deco style throughout. Get a load of that chandelier though, that's really beautiful. Here's the main welcome desk where you could check in. What do you guys think? I really like the moldings on the ceiling. It's a beautiful lobby. And then to the right of us, you'll have the entrance to the TikTok diner. Right through here. So very convenient. The New Yorker Hotel also has dormitories for the CUNY students. Now crossing West 35th Street to the northbound side. One of the things I like that the city did to 8th Avenue is they'd expanded this sidewalk here. So you can see the original sidewalk that we're walking on, but this is also a walk pathway, and then you have a dedicated bike lane too. So it makes it a little bit safer for the pedestrians. It's really nice. This is the Doubletree Hotel by Hilton, Times Square on 8th. They have public outdoor space in front. And this is West 37th Street. If you're looking for something interesting to do that's kind of out of the ordinary in New York, if you're visiting, and if you're in the Times Square area, what I would do is I would just walk all the way to the Hudson River and check out the Intrepid. For those of you who don't know, the Intrepid is a decommissioned aircraft carrier that they've turned into a museum on Manhattan's West Side. It's very cool. We're now going to cross 42nd Street northbound, and we'll head up towards 59th Street, Columbus Circle. Maybe since we're filming on 8th Avenue, I'll take everybody inside another building today, which is the Deutsche Bank Center.
That's for real estate.
This is the Holiday Inn. And we'll check out a really nice view of the New York Times building.
And go into all the sides.
In a little bit, we'll talk about one of the most unique buildings that is set to come to 8th Avenue, right across the street from the Restaurant Row District. You guys got to look this up. It's called The Torch, and the developer on the deal is Xtel. So the same company that pioneered New York City's Billionaires Row is going to be building this unbelievably unique building on 8th Avenue. that's going to have this Las Vegas style ride attraction at the top. This is the main entrance to the Port Authority here. So if you want to get a bus out to New Jersey, this is where you would go. We're now coming up to the corner of 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. I really like these new billboards. They're so vivid. I'm not sure how it comes out on the camera, but these are insane. It's like you can't see any pixels on it at all. It's amazing. Just the quality of the technology is unbelievable. On the corner on our left is the Ellery, which is a brand new rental apartment building. They have studios to 2-bedroom rental residences looking right at the Port Authority. I don't know if I'd like that, but you're going to start to see a lot of this neighborhood be redeveloped from those old pre-war buildings that are kind of ratty. Most of them will probably be torn down, and in its place will be those luxury rental apartment buildings. But check it out, it's called the Ellery. It's right there on the left. And of course, this is looking into the heart of Times Square.
Okay, so give it to me.
Ooh, look at this pigeon drinking that water. Got an abandoned city bike. To your left. This is now West 43rd Street. And in one more block, we're going to come up on the Row NYC. It's actually quite beautiful looking building. It's centered in the frame right now. And that was at the time of the New York City migrant crisis, the largest migrant intake facility in New York. Up there with the Roosevelt Hotel. Wow, this place looks new. This Emperor Dumpling. Look at that. Dumplings, noodles, dim sum, and Asian fusion food. I'll have to check it out. There's always new spots opening up on 8th Avenue. This is the main Shake Shack here on the corner of West 44th Street and 8th. Once again, we are on West 44th Street and 8th Avenue now. Here we have the Row NYC. Oh wow, here we have it. Looks like the building's going up now. This is the Torch by Extel. You can see Morgan Stanley up there. Again, look up some of the renderings online. This is going to be a huge project. The Torch NYC. Pretty crazy. It's going to be built around these three holdouts. We'll have to film sort of like a time lapse as this progresses, but this is going to be, I believe, over 1,000 feet tall. It's going to have a hotel component, but it's also going to have an amusement park like attraction at the top. And this is now New York City's Restaurant Row. So West 46th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue is the Restaurant Row district in New York. So if you're here for a Broadway show or a performance, and if you want to get something to eat, but you don't want to go too far away from where you have your theater, just come right here. There's a lot of good restaurants right off of 8th Avenue. My favorite Italian restaurant is down here called Becco, B-E-C-C-O. It's not the best food, but it's a really, really fun time. I'll also point out where the theater was, where I saw the MJ, the musical. It was a great show. This is a very, very cool shot looking across town. If you zoom in, you can see 270 Park Avenue, which is the new JP Morgan Chase office tower. Very cool. This is now 47th Street, and we'll pass the Engine 54 Ladder 4 Battalion 9 of the FDNY. Looks like the FDNY is just getting home. Let's watch them perfect this three-point turn to the firehouse. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think a lot of these pre-war buildings are probably going to come down and get sold. Especially this little block here between 47th and 48th. I think all these got to go. It just doesn't, these just don't look good here, in my opinion. Maybe somebody will come in, buy them, and build apartments or something of the like. But you know what, this hotel here is pretty new. It's called the Kipton Hotel Theta, and I always recommend this hotel for people to stay when they're coming to New York if you want to be close to Times Square but have a new, clean hotel to stay in. This is a newer hotel. The lobby's very nice and it's quite affordable. So if you're looking to, you know, do all the touristy stuff near Times Square, but, you know, not stay in some of the dirtier Times Square-like hotels, I would check out the Kipton Theta. This place behind us looks new too. Look at this, Three Kingdoms Barbecue. I'll have to check that out. It smells good. It says the soft opening of Three Kingdoms Barbecue.
I was trying, but then I gave up.
This is the famous Worldwide Plaza building. I believe you have Mizuho or Nomura is in here. Here you can get the C and the E trains downtown or uptown. This is the 50th Street station. We got about 9 blocks until we are at Columbus Circle. As you get up towards Billionaires Row, you'll start to see the skyline grow a little bit, especially as Central Park Tower comes into view. All right, 52nd Street. If you make a right here, this will be the main theater where they do the MJ the Musical. Great show, good performance. I had a really, really good time there, and I would highly recommend it. The theater's in between 8th Avenue, right on the corner of 52nd Street. It's called the Neil Simon Theater. You can see it a little bit, but it's the building with the red awnings. The very famous Neil Simon Theater. This is 53rd Street. If you make a right, you'll walk right into 53 West 53rd. You can kind of see the building a little bit here. It's that one building with the very, very pointy top. It's a very, very expensive building that's categorized as a Billionaires Row style building. The spot to the left of us, this Pick-a-Bagel, is very good as well. Ooh, we're going to be able to see the spire of 220 Central Park South. I got to pull off to the side to show you guys this. This is the Veneto development. The Art Deco one. Right there. That is 220 Central Park South. That's one of the most expensive apartment buildings in New York City and one of the most sought after apartment buildings in New York. Again, the developer is Veneto. They're publicly traded under the ticker symbol VNO. And then you have Robert A.M. Stern, who is the architect. And as you know, the same architect that did 15 Central Park West, that's known for those beautiful limestone facades.
Fucking bitch, bro. Whatever, bro. You a pussy, bro. You don't really, bro. You're not gonna feel it. I'll tell you that.
And that is Central Park Tower. 1,550 feet tall. Just an insane monster. That's the same developer who's doing the Torch building on 8th and Restaurant Row. Right here is the famous Soup Nazi place from Seinfeld. On 55th Street and 8th. If anybody's a big Seinfeld fan, you can check that out. And you have Dave's Hot Chicken across the street, which I think they sold for just an insane valuation. They sold to private equity. I forget the amount they sold it for, but I think it might have been around $6 billion they sold Dave's Hot Chicken. Here you have a good shot of those pre-war buildings. It's always kind of cool looking at it. Look at how cool this building is. This is called the Hearst Tower between 56th and 57th Street on 8th. Such a unique architectural marvel, that building. But now we can see Columbus Circle and Central Park as we approach 57th Street, Billionaires Row. Now you have a great shot of 157 West 57th Street, the original building on Billionaires Row. That's also the building that the crane flew off during Hurricane Sandy, and then Central Park Tower.
Something like that.
And we've made it to Columbus Circle. If you enjoyed that walking tour of 8th Avenue, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, we will see you all in the next one. And thank you so much for joining. Take care.